Police arrived at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School in 2 minutes. By then, it was already over. 9 people are dead. 27 are injured, and a small mountain town in British Columbia is waking up to the kind of nightmare that Canadians tell themselves doesn't happen here.
This is the worst school shooting in Canada in decades, isn't it?
Since the École Polytechnique massacre in 1989, that's 37 years, Canada has strict gun laws precisely because of that shooting, and yet here we are. The suspect has been identified as Jessie Van Rootselaar, an 18-year-old who police say had prior mental health contact with authorities. She was found dead at the school from what appears to be a self-inflicted injury.
Wait, this started before the school?
It did. Police say the suspect first killed her mother, age 39, and her 11-year-old stepbrother at their home. A young family member escaped to a neighbour's house and called for help. By the time police arrived, the shooter was already at the school. The victims at the school include a 39-year-old teacher, 3 12-year-old girls, and 2 boys aged 12 and 13. Most were found in the library.
Tumbler Ridge is tiny. How is a community like that supposed to process this?
It's 2,400 people in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, 600 miles from Vancouver. The mayor has been there 19 years. He says he'll know every victim personally. He calls the town family, not residents. A student named Darian Quist was in the library 15 minutes before the shooting. He barricaded himself in a classroom with desks while classmates texted him photos of what was happening upstairs. He was locked down for over 2 hours.
What's Prime Minister Carney saying?
He cancelled his trip to the Munich Security Conference. Flags at government buildings will be at half-staff for 7 days. He got emotional addressing reporters. Parents, grandparents, sisters, brothers in Tumbler Ridge will wake up without someone they love. The nation mourns with you. And that's where we are. 9 dead. A town in shock. And a country that thought it was immune, reminded that it never was.
All right. Meanwhile, there's another massive story developing. Trump and Netanyahu just met for 3 hours at the White House?
3 hours. No press conference. No joint statements. Trump emerged and said nothing definitive was reached, except that he insisted negotiations with Iran continue. But here's what's happening behind the scenes. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that the Pentagon has ordered a second aircraft carrier strike group to prepare for deployment to the Middle East.
A second carrier? The Abraham Lincoln is already there.
Exactly. And it's not just carriers. We're looking at one of the largest US military buildups in the Persian Gulf in years. Guided missile destroyers, THAAD, anti-ballistic missile batteries, Patriot systems, F-35 stealth fighters moving closer to the region. Last week, one of the Lincoln's jets shot down an Iranian drone. Satellite photos show missile launchers loaded and ready at the US base in Qatar. This isn't posturing. This is preparation.
What does Iran want from these talks?
To keep enriching uranium. They've always said any nuclear deal has to include their right to enrich. Trump's position is no nukes, no missiles. Those two things don't easily fit together. Netanyahu wants more. He wants the talks to address Iran's ballistic missiles and its support for groups like Hamas and Hezbollah, but it's unclear how much influence he actually has here.
Trump hit Iran pretty hard last June, right?
Operation Midnight Hammer. B-2 bombers struck Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan, Iran's key nuclear sites. Nearly 1,000 Iranians killed. And Iran is still reeling from that, plus the protests that killed thousands in January. Trump's leverage is enormous right now. His message to Tehran: last time you decided you were better off not making a deal. It didn't go well for you. Hopefully this time you'll be more reasonable.
Speaking of things not going well, DHS funding runs out Friday?
Midnight Friday, February 13th. The Department of Homeland Security is the only federal department that hasn't gotten its full-year funding for fiscal 2026, and negotiations are going nowhere.
This is still about Minneapolis?
Still about Minneapolis. Democrats are demanding reforms to ICE after federal agents killed 2 US citizens there in 3 weeks, Renee Good and Alex Pretty. They want body cameras, mask bans for agents, warrant requirements, use of force standards. Republicans are refusing. Senator Ron Johnson called the demands ridiculous. The White House made an offer Democrats rejected as insufficient. And now we're staring down another shutdown.
Who gets hurt if DHS shuts down?
TSA, Coast Guard, FEMA, Customs and Border Protection. Essential workers would still report, without pay, again.
Okay. Meanwhile, Pam Bondi had quite a day on Capitol Hill.
The Attorney General testified before the House Judiciary Committee for hours. Democrats came with knives out. Ranking member Jamie Raskin opened by accusing her of siding with perpetrators over victims, referencing both the Epstein files and the Minneapolis shootings. Quote, "That will be your legacy unless you act quickly to change course."
What's the issue with the Epstein files?
The DOJ released millions of documents, but Democrats say they over-redacted information that might implicate powerful people while accidentally exposing nearly 100 victims' personal information. Bondi defended the release and apologized to victims, calling Epstein a monster. But here's the remarkable part. Republican Thomas Massie, who usually breaks with his party, also went after her. He said, "This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it."
Bipartisan criticism. That's rare these days.
Bondi's response. She called Massie a failed politician with Trump derangement syndrome, which is a choice when the criticism is coming from inside your own party.
One more story. Taiwan?
Taiwan's defense minister issued a stark warning today. If the opposition-controlled parliament doesn't pass a $40 billion defense budget, it risks a rupture in the line of defense against China.
Rupture is a strong word.
It's an accurate one. President Lai proposed this massive defense boost to counter China. The opposition Kuomintang, whose vice chairman just visited Beijing last week, is blocking it. They say they won't sign blank checks. And while Taiwanese politicians argued, China's military sent 11 aircraft, including nuclear-capable H-6K bombers, to operate east and southwest of the island. Long-distance Pacific training, they called it.
The U.S. just announced an $11 billion arms sale to Taiwan in December, right?
The largest ever, but those weapons don't help if Taiwan's own parliament won't fund integration and defense infrastructure. The US has made clear this budget matters. Taiwan could fall off the priority list for arms deliveries if they can't get their house in order. So that's where we are tonight. A small Canadian town in mourning, a massive US military build-up aimed at Iran, a funding deadline 2 days away, an attorney general under fire from both parties, and Taiwan caught between an opposition that won't act and a neighbour that won't wait.
None of these feel like they're getting better anytime soon.
They're not. And that's the news. See you tomorrow.